So yeah, we've sorted it out. The go to bed voice. Yes. Yeah.
The exact opposite.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, kids, time for school.
Yeah. Okay. So what are we going to talk about?
I think we're going to talk about my work. I think that'll be good.
Okay.
It's it's a long time coming. I have usually preferred to lead from behind, and I'm in a place where it's time to move forward and to reach out and help more people. And so in order for me to do that, I have to step forward from behind and start guiding more people and helping them. And it's been a process. It's been a very intense journey, and it's been really fun and enlightening and scary, to suddenly shift gears. Your life's going one direction and then you're going another all of a sudden. I grew up institutionalized, and I had a very specific type of discipline which served me, to become a Navy SEAL. It made SEAL training easy. It made the SEAL teams easy, but after leaving that environment, it made it very difficult to assimilate and relate to people who hadn't been through that type of conditioning. And my body broke down. Everything started breaking down. By the time I was 29, I was reading people's lips. They didn't know it because I was the type of person at that time I suffered in silence. I was losing my vision. I had pain at every joint. And I had the ability to ignore certain levels of pain, but then once it was in my hip, I couldn't get away from it. Whether I was sleeping, hopping, jumping, running, sitting, lying down, whatever I did, I was in pain. And I had to reach out and do something that was really vulnerable for me at the time, which was to let somebody in on my internal process and how I was experiencing the world from the inside. And that was difficult. And it took me a long time. And then I reached out to a buddy of mine that was in the SEAL teams. And he was kind enough to drop everything and come up and teach me how to get out of the hell that I was in. And everything changed from there. He said to me in his best Staten Island voice, "Yo, Chris, look, man, you just don't know what I'm talking about. Your tissues are toxic. We need to clean up your tissues." And I'm thinking, what the fuck is he talking about? My tissues. He said, "Listen, I'm going to bring a yoga mat up to your house and a juicer." I'm thinking, a yoga mat? What the hell is a yoga mat? What's a juicer? So, of course, always wanting to be helpful, I said, "Just listen, Jeff, I'll go down to the grocery store and I'll get us some some orange juice. And he just started laughing his ass off. He said, Chris, trust me, Chris, you don't know what I'm talking about. Just sit tight, man, for 30 minutes. I'll be right there. And he came up to my house and he carted in this big steel contraption with a big bag of carrots, parsley, celery, and beets and lemons. And we made a juice. And he sucked his down in like a couple minutes. And I put it to my lips and it was just like, oh my God, this thing is disgusting. Yet a light turned on very quickly. And I realized that the reason why it tasted so good to him is because he was healthy. And then at that moment, I had to realize that I wasn't. I was fit. I mean, if you looked at me, I mean, I was maybe 25 pounds heavier. Just lean as anyone has ever been on the planet. Balanced muscularly, but full of pain and tight and toxic. Really, really toxic. And Jeff spent, he spent his nights after work doing yoga and taking care of himself. And I spent my nights drinking beer and chasing tail. And this was the inner outcome of my choices. And he rolled out those 2 yoga mats and he got on the ground and got in his position. He's like, all right, Chris, cross your arms. And he went one right into the other, just as easy as pie. And I couldn't get any further than that. And in my mind, I was in complete denial. And I thought, oh no, he was born this way. That's why he can do this so simply. There's nothing wrong with me. Right? And after about 2.5 hours, I finally said, dude, you were born this way. And then he just starts laughing his ass off again, like a hyena. And he's like, what you don't know is I was where you were 3 years ago. And my girlfriend, Roxanne, who I've been dating for the last few years, is a yoga teacher. And she started teaching me. And I busted my ass. And he worked on himself 2-3 hours a day. And I was just like, 2-3 hours a day? How am I going to come up with that kind of time? And that sent me on a journey. And then I started walking in a different direction. Yeah. So I went home and I called up all my friends at night who I used to drink beer and watch football with and hang out at the beach. And I said, look, if you're calling me to party or chase tail, you might as well lose my number because you're never going to hear back. And if you're calling me to hang out, barbecue, chill out, need me to help you move your house or something, you can call me up, but I'm going to be busy doing something different with my life. And that was where, that's where I shifted. I've always, fortunate for me, have been able to recognize contrast and be honest with myself when honesty was presented to me. And as you start removing tension from your body, old feelings and thoughts and belief systems, that are false, that are related to delusion, they come up and then they go out, and then you have a new way of thinking, a new way of relating, a new way of being. And then at the end of the session, he was kind enough to share with me that he thought I should hire a rolfer to speed up the process. And he knew I was a bit of a researcher, and I'm the type of person where I have to find the right person for me. It's got to be in the right timing. And I found one. His name was Stephen Bolger, and he brought me to the next big moment of waking up. And I filled out all the information when I got to his office. And he came in, brought the sheet of paper. And this is the time I was training for the Olympic trials. And I ran track and field at the time. And he said, "Who are you?" It's like, and my response to him was, "I'm an athlete." And he said, "Well, right here it says that you're Christopher Maher." You might want to think about that. And the defensive part of me was like, fuck off. I didn't come here for psychotherapy. I came here to help you get my body ready so I could do some more training and continue being an athlete. And after I got back in my car and I was driving home, I couldn't let go. What he said had already crystallized in my mind, what he presented to me as an opportunity to think about. And I realized that I had got so much positive feedback from being an athlete that when I left the SEAL teams, the thing I wanted to get back into, I thought that, running and being an athlete again was going to be the thing that fulfilled me more. And it didn't. It caused me a lot of frustration and a lot of pain, and I was willing to run through the pain to try to get to the goal. And I was so unconscious. I was just grinding myself to a halt to achieve this imaginary gold star from maybe winning at life. But I wasn't done yet. So I got some help from Rolfing, and then I moved into the Gasku method. And they had a great training program for semi-pro and pro athletes. And I went to the camps, and I could outperform anybody. That was easy. Yet the thing that was difficult was for me to see the cost. And that I was really on a road to nowhere. I was running from something, and I didn't know what that was. And I kept praying because I knew it was possible to have instantaneous, permanent change. I knew it was possible. And I would look up at the sky at night as I would walk down these steps to my home, out to a beautiful ocean view and incredible sound of the waves crashing. And I would always think to myself, Jesus, you must have created one person who has a better idea than all of these people. And then that led me on the next piece of my journey. And then once I got a taste of that instantaneous permanent change was possible, then I dropped everything that I was doing and I moved my life in a different direction. Because I started to understand, once I pulled these intense amounts of stress and tension out, that I could be free. I could attain freedom from the inside out. And that, for me, was worth fighting for. That, for me, was my one focus every day. You know, I had one intention. Everyone would always ask me, what's your intention for doing this? And I wanted to know love at its greatest measure. That's what I wanted. And I knew no one was going to hand it to me. If God had wanted me to experience it from the outside in, I would have had that life, but I didn't. He gave me an incredible opportunity. And I was born with the internal fortitude to do what it took. To embody love. Really embody love from the inside out. Saw this program recently. It was about soldiers suffering from PTSD.